The 10 Stages to Skill Mastery, narrated by the Almighty Lewis, written by the Almighty Lewis and inspired on the life of Varoujan Khatchikian. Introduction. Welcome to the 10 Stages to Skill Mastery. If you are reading this book, that means that you are ready to become a master of the skill you are currently pursuing. You may be wondering, is any prior experience required to start this journey? The answer is no. You do not need to be proficient at your skill or even have started for that matter. All you really need is the will to put in the hard work and a powerful vision that draws you in like a magnet to move forward. Becoming a master of a skill is more than just becoming good at it. The difference between a master and someone who is good is their ability to perform without thinking and manipulating everything in their industry as they wish. This means they can play around with knowledge and equipment to create what they want without following the rules. To understand what I mean, just look at some of the best in any industry. Look at how they do complex jobs with ease and quickness, and occasionally they surprise you by creating something unimaginable. This is what creates a master. Masters for the most part are praised and looked up to as inspirational figures because of their devotion and skill. I hope you are excited because the following 10 stages are going to help you become exactly that person. This book, as you may know, is written by the Almighty Lewis, but it's inspired on the life and experience of Varouj, the CEO of Kabartzi and Develop Your Mindset podcast. Varouj went through these stages as he was on his way to becoming one of the best jewelers ever known to man. He has mastered everything along the process of creating and designing jewelry. It took him years to become a master, but since you have access to this book, that time frame will be cut in half. You will not have to spend years looking for the information and learning everything on your own because I have done the job for you. These stages were originally a video series aimed at helping jewelers become masters, but I have gone ahead and extracted the core concepts of these stages so they become applicable to any skill you intend to master. This book will elaborate more on every stage and will be loaded with knowledge and experience that I have had in my personal life too. So yes, there's things in this book that you will not find in the video series, so make sure you read the book till the end. Now please, do realize that this is a book about becoming a master. Nothing in this book will be easy to execute. An interesting fact about Varouj is that he committed to becoming a master jeweler as early as 14 years old. He was at a point in his life where he could no longer sustain himself unless he took some sort of action immediately. School was not all that great either for him. Even his school principal told him that he was not good enough. At this point, he decided he was going to become a master jeweler no matter what it took. He even told his principal that he was going to turn his glasses into fully wearable gold reading glasses, which he eventually did later down the road. This journey will involve hard work, failure, discomfort, sacrifice, and more. You need to be ready to go all in despite the pain and struggle. This will not work if you wish it otherwise. You must be committed and be willing to do everything that you learn in this book. Like said previously, these steps will only work if you find a master to watch and follow. If you do not find a master, then you may have to slightly tailor this book to your situation. However, finding the master should not be too hard. A master can be a co-worker, a boss, or anyone really who is a master. It could even be a virtual master if finding a master in person is not plausible. You only need someone who is available and reliable. The most common and easiest way to obtain a master is to work for them. Sometimes the only option will be to work for them for free. If that is the case, then do it. Find a side job if you need extra money, but never turn down an available master unless you have an alternative master. With all that said, let's go ahead and begin with the stages. Stage number 1, watching. I said in the introduction, your journey of becoming a master will start with finding a master, but before that you must commit to mastery. You must have a skill that you want to master, and you must be willing to do whatever it takes to attain that mastery. When Varouj started, he was working for a company that offered him the chance to start learning the basics of jewelry. It was a good thing that someone believed in him to train him, but it was not all that pretty. Varouj was faced with troubles because he had no experience, which in turn led him to be taken advantage of. Not only that, but also he was bullied. For example, there was times where his boss would throw slingshot paper at him for no reason. Varouj felt uncomfortable about this, but that did not stop him from learning because he was committed to becoming a master. He knew there was a price to pay, and he was willing to handle the pain for as long as he was able to learn. This journey will be tough and will require hard work, sacrifice, and discipline, but in the end, I promise you, it will be worth it. Now that you have committed and you are mentally ready to undertake this mission towards mastery, let us begin by doing some research. This research will involve looking for a master in the industry you are looking to become a master in. Your goal is not necessarily to find the best master out there, but rather one who is available and is willing to give you some of their time to learn from them. Once you have found your master, the next thing you must do is figure out the logistics. Get informed as to how you will learn, what you will learn, and when you can start. Once you know these things and you are ready to begin, remember to do it with elegance and positivity. Starting with elegance means dress appropriately, or at the very least, as best as you can. If you can afford to make an investment into your attire, please do so. The last thing you want to do is show up dressed like being with your master means little to you. Dressing up without effort tells your master that you are not committed and that you do not care about what they will teach you. Do not be this individual. Depending on your industry, you will have to do research and see what kind of outfit will be best for your industry. If you cannot find anything online, look at the people already working there and imitate them. Assume that you are already working for them, even though you are just there to learn, or perhaps you have gotten hired. The next thing to keep in mind is being positive. When you arrive to the location of your master, at first you may be hesitant to listen and follow everything your master tells you, but remember, they are in charge, not you. Your master is the ultimate authority when you are learning from them, so treat them like so. Show respect towards your master by doing exactly as they say and doing more than what is asked from you whenever possible. Have an open and positive mind about everything you learn by watching your master, as that is the first stage of skill mastery. Be positive and show enthusiasm. Every comment you make should be in the direction of acknowledging and praising the skills of your master. Remember that they have spent years perfecting their craft. The last thing they want to hear is an amateur trying to challenge them. Something you may be asking yourself is, should I be learning from my master for free at times? The answer is yes. You may think that just because you are devoting your time to your master and you are doing things for them that you should be getting paid. Wrong. You are there to learn from the master, not the other way around. They are the ones with the experience, and not you. Of course, this will vary, as you might have gotten hired to work there, so in that case, you will be paid. However, you may be asked occasionally to do things that are out of your line of work. If your master is as good as they say, then do as you are told. Always keep in mind that the time you are spending with your master is a long-term investment that is meant to pay off sometime in the future. If you have a master who is willing to give you their time, be grateful, because most masters are busy doing what they do best. Most do not have time to teach, so instead of wanting to charge your master for your time, express some gratitude for their time and show up early and show up every time you are asked to show up. If possible, show up even when you are not asked to show up. They may not need you or have the time to have you there, but at least you are showing them that you are available and that you are serious about learning and mastering their skill. Now, it's possible that at first you do end up choosing the wrong master who asks you to do things that are completely irrelevant to the skill you're trying to master, or they may end up not teaching you anything at all. In that case, do not get frustrated or disappointed. Simply walk away if that is the case and look for another master. Lastly, do not be negative. Negativity will only make your presence an annoyance to your master. Do not bring up things from your past that are negative or that will make you sound like a victim. Your master does not care about your personal life. At least in the beginning, they will not. Your master is only interested in the value you will provide to them. In this case, it's them teaching you and seeing how their teachers can improve someone else's skill. Do not express negative traits either, like laziness or the mindset of a poor individual. What I'm trying to say here is that you should be an action-driven individual. Do not wait to be told what to do. Take initiative and ask questions. Always be looking to add value by looking for ways to help your master be even more efficient and more productive. These are the traits of someone who is excited and ambitious to become a master, which is what I hope you are aiming for. Also, do not make assumptions. If your master is doing something or showing you something, do not jump into conclusions and assume you understand what they are doing, because the truth is you do not. Watching something does not equate to understanding. Repetition does. With that said, that is it for this watching stage. Remember, your only focus is to watch your master. If you are asked to do things here and there, that is great, but do not focus on that, as we will cover it in the next stage. Solely focus on watching and proximity, and remember to be positive and show up on time every single time. Stage number 2, touching. Now that you have spent a significant amount of time watching your master do their craft, it is time that you start getting hands-on, hence the name of this chapter is touching. By now, your master should have already acknowledged that this is something serious for you and that you are committed to mastering this skill, so by definition, this should start giving you small tasks you can do. Varoujan at the time started working longer and longer hours. He stayed so late working that he barely had any contact with his family for a while because he came home late at night when everyone was already asleep. At the same time, the pay was not all that great. He was not making as much money, but he was gaining experience, which was everything that mattered to him. He felt like he was learning a lot and at a fast rate because he was just doing so much. Yes, he felt tired, but he plowed through because he was clear on his purpose. He only had in mind to succeed and give his family a better life. It may not always be the case that your master acknowledges you, so in those situations, be sure to take initiative and ask to be given tasks. Once you start getting hands-on and start touching equipment or interacting with certain systems, you will realize that it is more difficult than you once thought. This is normal. It is likely that when you were in the watching stage, it all seemed easy and you thought you understood the material. It happens to all of us, and the best way to deal with this phenomenon is to embrace it. Accept that you are just a beginner at this point and that you have much to learn from your master. In this stage, it is likely that you will encounter a lot of failure. The reality is that the more failure you accrue, the closer you will be to the next stage. In this stage, it is not a matter of failing or succeeding. It is about developing an endurance for failure, because failure is guaranteed at this stage. I wish I could tell you there was a secret thing you can do to avoid failure 100% of the time, but the truth is, it is never going to be like that. Failure is imminent at every stage of the skill mastery. However, the amount amount of it will only depend on how much you are willing to do. The more action you take, the more failure will come your way, and the less action you take, the less failure will come your way. It may be tempting to take less action just to avoid having to deal with so much failure. Don't be this individual. Taking action is going to be massively important if you're trying to become a master at your skill. To embrace failure deep down, you will have to change your belief system about failure. Most of us have been trained to believe that failure is bad and that we should always try to avoid it. We want to change that. The new belief system we want to have is that failure is our friend giving us tough love in the places that we need improvement. Treat failure as a signal where you need to put your attention when trying to master your skill. If you really think about it, avoiding failure is like avoiding the signals where you need to improve. This will only hold you back from advancement and keep you stuck between stages of watching and touching. Something else you might be tempted to do with failure is blame your mentor or somebody else for it. Never, I repeat, never blame anyone else, especially your mentor. Always hold yourself accountable for your failures. This is the only way you will embrace failure and take the necessary action to assess those failures. Accept the fact that you will be exposed to new things, so it will naturally feel uncomfortable and you will feel vulnerable to some degree. Be okay with this feeling of vulnerability, as it will show your mentor that you are willing to put yourself in such position for them. Your mentor will start to trust you more because they can see you will always be honest and show your real self even when evident struggle is present. Be grateful of such trust, because the more your mentor is willing to trust you as a person, the more they will be willing to trust you with their equipment, their tools, and their knowledge. When this trust is established, it is vital that you capitalize on this trust by listening and implementing. This means that if they trust you with a new piece of equipment, let us say, you need to make the most out of that equipment. Ask your mentor what you can do with it, or find out from someone how you can use that equipment. Get familiar with the equipment and learn everything there is to know about it. Chances are you may not be able to use that piece of equipment to its maximum capacity yet, but you will in the future, so it's important that you get familiar with the fundamentals. That way you are able to be more flexible with it in the future. If there is any terminology associated with the new piece of equipment of your industry for that matter, start learning it and practicing. If you can communicate in the same language as your mentor, they are more likely to take you seriously and be willing to give you more responsibility and more to touch. Keeping track of what you are learning and the speed at which you are learning is more important at this stage. Now that you are touching, there is a higher chance that you will be able to truly learn, because in case you did not know, learning requires a combination of studying and implementing. You constantly want to be aware of how much you can handle. Too much hands-on can overwhelm you, and too little hands-on can lead you to boredom. Keep a healthy balance at first, since you are in the beginning stages. Later in the journey, we are going to work on pushing you beyond your limit to create a new limit, but right now focus on simply finding where your limit is. Something to start working on in this stage is habits. Habits allow you to perform a specific set of actions without putting any thought into it. At first, try to form habits around the things you must do every time you are going to perform. Take sports, for example. You can form the habit of doing a specific warm-up routine before you begin playing. This will allow you to do your warm-up with no thought, and it allows you to focus on other things like thinking ahead. Lastly, whenever you're giving something to do, never question it. Listen to your master and do as they say. Yes, you may have a different idea or method on the matter, but at this stage, you are not necessarily skilled enough to take such action. Always listen to your master and do as they say, and always attempt to exceed their expectations whenever possible. In summary, start doing some hands-on time with your master and show them you are willing to do whatever it takes to continue improving and doing more. Stage number 3, repetition. By now, you should have a simple routine going, as you have been getting more hands-on time. But if you are not, that is okay. In this stage, we are going to be focusing on developing habits that are going to help you be more efficient and enhance your commitment. In the touching stage, you are figuring out the fundamentals and how to use certain equipment, so by definition, you should know what equipment a beginner like you should be using and the series of steps that you must always follow before you start using that equipment. For example, let us say you are trying to master how to become a professional photographer. Your piece of equipment is the camera. Ask yourself, what are the first things you must do with that camera every time you are about to use it? Maybe it is cleaning the lens or setting the camera into a specific setting to take the shots correctly. In this case, you are going to want to build a habit around cleaning the lens and configuring those settings every single time you are about to use that camera. To create this habit, you are going to have to repeat this action repeatedly. This can sound frustrating at first. Take the example above. Imagine having to clean the lens, configuring the same settings, checking the battery level, making sure the memory card is installed every single day. These things are simple to do, yet they are so vital to the operation of the camera. If one of these fails, nothing moving forward will matter. In other words, you must build habits around the basics first if you want to become a master. Now yes, sometimes you will have to build habits around more complicated things other than the basics, but still essential to the skill. Know that repetition creates excellence and perfection, but only because so much failure is involved in the middle that by the time you are done repeating, there's really no other choice but to succeed, because you have failed from every angle. However, reaching the end of the repetition stage is not easy. There are a couple things you must do with failure first to ensure that your repetition is not in vain. Believe me, the worst thing that can happen is you repeating the same failure repeatedly. At first, you will repeat for comfort. Your only goal should be to get comfortable with whatever it is you're doing. Your goal is not to be perfect. Once you have repeated that thing many times to the point where you feel comfortable and maybe you have gotten it perfect a couple times, now what you want to do is repeat for perfection. This is the time when not only are you repeating for comfort, you are repeating to get it right at least 90% of the total times you are doing it. Here's the thing. When you are repeating for comfort, it can be frustrating. The reason being, it can take 10 to 100 tries before you get it right. Even if your goal is to build comfort, there will be a part of you who will want to get it right, and you are in the right to feel this way. It is not easy. So to deal with this frustration, we must first take responsibility and embrace your mistakes. Results are never immediate no matter how hard you work at it. Sometimes you just have not tried enough times without even knowing it, so you must keep going until you reach that number. Keep a positive attitude and be confident in yourself. The results will come, but you must continue to try repeatedly. Once you get it right, believe me, you will start building momentum and your success percentage will start to increase. Once you feel comfortable to the degree that you feel you can take on a challenge, that is when you know you are ready to start the repetition for perfection stage. This is the phase where you start building habits, because at this point, you should know what are the right steps that will get you result. You know what are the right steps that will get the result. Even though your execution might not be 100% yet, now you know what you must do first, second, and third. The goal is to engrave those steps into your brain to the degree that you are not focusing so much on what you need to do, but rather how can you do it better. Once again, the speed at which you get results will vary, so be patient and continue to do what you must do. Keep pressing no matter what. I want you to remember that what you are doing is something special and that it's not done by many people. Therefore, you are going to get a result that most people will never get, and you will live a life that most people only dream of. Varoujan went through a rough experience by having to repeat and perfect his techniques by going a hair this way and a hair that way. He also had to make precise cuts, such as going a little to the left and a little to the right. It was intense, but he managed to plow through by listening to rock and roll music on KNAC radio. These times were annoying as he describes them, but they were extremely helpful and led to exceptionally clean jobs. Varoujan did this for 3 months until he finally decided it was time to open his own company with his brother Hyde. If you are having trouble staying focused because of the difficulty or frustration behind repeating something repeatedly, think about it this way. What you're doing isn't just for you, it's for your family and the people you love. When you become a master, you will be respected, and respected people are more trustworthy, which means that more people will trust you to get their jobs done by you, which will result in you making more money. This is what I want for you. I want to offer you the dream and idea of attaining financial freedom for yourself so that you can help whoever you want. Believe me, the last thing you want to do is be complacent and just assume that because you got it right one time, that it is now over and you can move on to the next step. This is not the case at all. Be sure to always perfect your habits every step of the way. You only become a master when you have mastered everything in the industry of your skill. You must master the basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. Do not attempt to skip any of these, but of course, stay curious. Right now, you should be in the basic levels, so focus on mastering all that terrain. Ask questions if need be to your master as to how you can master all the fundamentals of your craft. You can also read books, watch videos, and take courses. Make sure you do everything to ensure that you are on top of your basic domain, because believe me, it will matter a lot down the run. Do not even think for a second you will be able to perform good at an advanced level when you have not even mastered the basics. By mastering the basics, you also show your master that you are improving and that you are ready to move on to that next level. For now though, repetition is key. No matter how simple something might seem, never underestimate any part of the journey, as all of it is important even though it might not seem like so at first. Lastly, I just want to say, focus on showing high performance. Always do your best. Even when your emotions are not in line with your repetition, simply keep at it. The results will come. First repeat for comfort and then for perfection. Stage number 4, getting good. After going through massive amounts of repetition, you should now be at a place where you are becoming good at your skill to such a degree that you are now being considered and appreciated for your skills. This is not an easy place to reach, especially if the repetition process did not come easy to you. Congratulate yourself for getting good, but be realistic and know that you are not the master yet. This is only the beginning of a long journey, and it is going to take years before you are considered a master of the industry. At this point, it is easy, and it logically makes sense to take a break and stop working so hard, because by now you should have mastered the basics, which have placed you above the average person. This is great, but under no means is it a reason to get complacent and lazy. At this stage, Varoujan started to pursue a career as a freelancer jeweler. He accomplished this by setting up a table in the place he worked at and started to think as a company owner and not an employee. He started working more and more, even though he was getting paid even less when he was working for somebody. Being good does not equate to being a master. Being good means that you are now good enough to handle the beginner phase with ease. At this point, your master should see you as a reliable person they can trust with the basics and possibly get you involved in projects of their own. This is not something that is guaranteed, but at the very least, you will be trusted a lot more than someone who is just starting off. In this stage, it is particularly important that you have a strong vision of why you want to become a master of your industry. You see, things are only going to get harder from now on, so you must know exactly why you want to be a master. The reasons can be many, but make sure you pick one that is personal and that you are willing to go through massive amounts of pain for. Here's the thing, getting good feels great. It is easy to fall into a comfort zone with the skills that you have gotten good at and to some degree perfected for the time being. Something to keep in mind is that even though you might have learned how to perfect something in one way, a master knows that the circumstances won't always be the same, so you have to be ready to do things in a different way in order to produce the same result. One way to do this is to start watching the employees that work at the location of your master if possible. Look at how they're doing the same thing you are doing. Employees will sometimes use different processes to make it easier for them to get the result. Remember that your end goal is to become the master, not simply good. To separate yourself from the people who are simply good, you purposefully must put yourself in situations that demand for you to leave your comfort zone and try a new process. At this point, you are not just after a result, but you are after mastery. Always be asking yourself if what you are doing is good enough for you, or do you want to be better? Look at your master and see if they inspire you to be better. If mastery means a lot for you, then your master should certainly inspire you to be just like them, or even better. Now, if you are wondering if there are different levels of mastery, the answer is yes. The best masters out there are the ones who are constantly pushing themselves even after they are already masters. The reason they do this is because they need to stay relevant with any new strategies and moves that are being developed by people out there. To become a master, you must be curious and see what else is out there. This is even more true at this stage because ignorance is just around the corner. Since you are already good, your mind might be telling you that you do not need to do any more research. This is obviously far from the truth. At this stage, you want to be doing more research than you have ever done. If no employees are present next to your master, or you are not allowed to observe and learn from them, do not let that stop you. Go online and do your research if that is not available. And if that is not available, go to the library and pick up some books. Do whatever it takes to discover what is possible and how simple basics can be done in different ways. Perhaps this journey will involve using new equipment, new software, or just a new order of things for that matter. At this point, don't be hesitant to go back and review some of your failures as well. You would be surprised how many failures you can turn around once you combine them with proper research. In case you have not noticed yet, you still have a lot of work to do. To make things easier on you, in this stage, you want to start aligning your life with the skill you are trying to master. You see, there will be a lot of distractions that will try to get in the way of doing the things you need to do to get better. These distractions must be removed if you want to get better, because all these distractions will do is hold you back. Your distractions can be people like your friends, your family, and close acquaintances who will tell you that you are already good and there is no improvement left to be made. Realize that these people are not purposefully holding you back. They are just ignorant. Not many people know what it takes to become a master. Most people think that you are just simply born with it. This is not true. Mastery takes time and hard work. You need to always maintain a high performance mindset present and strong. This is the new reality you are going to have to embrace, so give yourself time to acknowledge and settle in with this new reality. Mastering a new skill is so exciting even though it is hard work. You must learn to fall in love with your work and wake up every morning happy to be taking one more step forward. Take for example the headlights of a car. When you are out in the dark, these lights only illuminate a short distance in front of you. They do not enlighten the entire path, but that does not mean that it's not out there. You just can't see it. You must believe in yourself and the journey. Something we spoke about in the past stage is to always think about the people you want to help once you become a master of your skill. In this stage though, you will start to notice that if you show commitment to mastery, these people will start to look up to you. This is an amazing feeling that you must capitalize on by going out there and becoming even better for them. In summary, being good is great, but do not limit yourself to that. Do whatever it takes to become better and continue your road towards mastery. Stage number 5. Decide to become the master. We previously covered getting good and having skills above the average Joe. In this stage, we will cover what happens when you start getting good enough to the point where you feel like getting good is a comfortable place to settle at. This could be due to all the praise you are getting from everyone, including your master, and the job offers that may be presenting themselves left and right. Or it could very well be the opposite, where you might be getting good, but nobody is paying attention. This may result in you thinking that you have not progressed at all. Varoujan was not working on some amazing things as a freelancer. He was making things that once seemed impossible but very much possible now. This gave him sufficient confidence to later go and open his own store with his other two brothers. This was not an easy choice as he did not have enough money, but only 2 ounces of gold that gave him enough money to pay for 4 months of rent. At first, while talented, he very much struggled with bringing in customers and work for his shop. This led him to live below his means. At one point, he was only eating a small portion of hummus that he had to share with his other two brothers. This was a real struggle, but he knew this was the price to pay if he really wanted to become successful in the industry. Depending on your situation, you will need to approach the situation through a series of different steps. First, let us say you are getting praised and validated from everyone. You are feeling like the king of the world. In this case, like I said previously, you will be tempted to settle down and retreat on your progress. I mean, you did put in a lot of hard work and possibly even made some sacrifices along the way, so it only makes sense that you settle and enjoy the fruits of your very hard work. This path makes a lot of sense, but only if your vision was making it this far. If all you really wanted was to get good enough to the point where you would be above the average person, then yes, it is fair to say that your journey is over. However, if your vision was, like I said at the beginning of this book, mastery, then you are only in the beginning phase. Laziness and comfort are your biggest rivals right now, because with all the praise, why would you want to get out there and be better? Why would you want to go through all the hard work and sacrifice even more if you're already getting some results right now? You would only do that if there was a strong and personal reason to become a master. This is what we need to focus on right now, your why. Ask yourself, why do you want to become a master? Answer yourself honestly and in detail. This is not the time to trick yourself into thinking that you have a strong and personal purpose when the reality is that you do not have one. Not having a strong and personal purpose is acceptable, but lying to yourself is not. In the case that you do not have one, you need to find one as soon as possible. Take inspiration from other masters if you need it, or look around you and look at what big problem you can solve by becoming a master. Now, let us say you did have a strong and personal purpose to begin with, but you are struggling with keeping up because you have all these other great results at your disposition. Well, in this case, you have a lack of commitment. A lack of commitment does not come by accident. If you do not feel committed now, that's because you lack data. What I mean is that you do not have the full picture. To commit to something, you need to not only believe in what you are going after, but also you need to know what you are leaving behind and be okay with it. You see, commitment demands that you focus on your path and at the same time say no to that which is not going to help your journey. This can be hard if you are emotionally attached to those things and sometimes people who are not part of your journey. You must know what these things and people are very clearly because you are going to have to keep your distance from both. If it is people, you will have to reduce or eliminate the amount of time you spend with them. And if it is things, you will have to do the same. You might be wondering, why can't I just balance both? Well, the reason is because every time you indulge with people or things that aren't aligned with your path, you are wasting time, energy, and resources that could be allocated to those people and things that actually do matter. In the short term, this might not seem like a big deal, but long term, these people and things could hold you back in ways you cannot even imagine right now. Take the example we touched on earlier about becoming a professional photographer. Let's say you're at a point where you could invest some money in owning your own camera and editing software, but since you are still trying to balance your life, you invest that money having a party with your friend. Your resources, time, and energy are now being wasted in the party instead of owning a camera, software, and a time to take shots to edit them. Now think about it. If you are not investing your time, resources, and energy on making your skills sharper and better, you will never reach that stage of complete mastery. So, you see, therefore, balance is not an option. If you are committed to your vision of mastery, you will allocate your time, energy, and resources to that vision first. Now, this is not to say that you must devote 100% of it to your path, but you must allocate the bigger portion to your path. Now that we have covered the actions you must take if you feel like you are sliding into comfort due to praise, let us now talk about being underappreciated. What if nobody is noticing how good you are getting, not even yourself? What do you do then? First, realize that the only person who you should consider feedback from is your master, because it is only them who are unaware of what the full journey looks like. If they are not noticing your progress, then that means they sincerely do not care about your progress. They might be focused on running their company or their life that they just do not have the time to praise you or let you know that you are doing the right thing. In this case, the best thing you can do is ask yourself, am I good? If your response is immediately yes, and you have actual results to back it up, then you must take the leap of faith and leave your current master. Thank them for everything you learned from them and leave. You will eventually find a master that is willing to appreciate your hard work and guide you in a way that will help you grow. Never supplicate or demand your master to appreciate your progress. They are not there for that. They are not your friends or your family, at least not now. Always focus on becoming better and adding value to your master in any way possible. Contribution is far more important than focusing on selfish results. Those results will come naturally when you contribute. Continue to better yourself and stay positive as always. Be the author of your own life and continue your path towards mastery. This is just the beginning as you have much to learn. Chapter 6. Looking for a new master. Possibly. Earlier in the book, I told you to set quests on finding a master that would be willing to teach you what he knows to help you grow and enhance your skills. In the beginning, things like the master's personality and environment did not really matter because the main goal was to really get your foot in the door. You could not afford to go after the best master there was because you just did not have much value to offer since you were just at the beginning of your journey. Now, things have changed. You have done your time with your master and now the time has come to make a choice whether you will stay with them or you will depart. During these times, Varoujan had his confidence skyrocket and go through the roof. It was amazing what he had done at this point. His brothers were talking so good about him that at one time, he was asked to solder gold into a Rolex watch band. This was crazy at the time because nobody could do it. Varoujan fell up for the challenge and made it happen. The customer of the order was so amazed that he started giving Varoujan more and more jobs to work with. Suddenly the word got out and he was receiving jobs left and right. This clearly was a hallmark for spending years upon years of extremely hard work and dedication. You are no longer a beginner as you have put in the time and hard work to become better than you have started. You are no longer a beginner as you have put in the time and hard work to become better than how you started. Yeah, you now have much more value than you did at the beginning, and this is great. So, how do you make the choice if you should stay or leave your current master? Well, first ask yourself if you are comfortable with your current master. Are they treating you the way you want to be treated? Also, ask yourself if you are learning from them as much as you would like to. Check their habits too, if they are moving in the direction of progress and they have gotten complacent with their skills. Are they moving in the direction of progress or have they gotten complacent with their skills? You must also review the environment of your master. Is everyone in their company pushing themselves to become better than they currently are? Is everyone putting in the same level of commitment and dedication to become better at their skill? If they are not, there is a chance you may be in the wrong place. After you ask yourself all these questions and you answer them honestly, it is time to make a choice. If your master is complacent, they are not teaching you what you need to learn, and they have an environment where laziness is accepted, your best chance is to leave. However, if your master is constantly growing, they're teaching you what you need to learn and more, and they have a competitive environment where everyone is looking to grow and become better, then you should consider staying with your master. Now that you have made a choice, let us talk about how you should approach either scenario that were to happen. If you choose to stay with your master, then your focus from now on should be to become a linchpin. This means that you want to start pushing yourself to become indispensable for your master. As opposed to most employees who simply look to do what is asked from them and leave, you need to be different. Always look to do more and do it differently. If you want your master to teach you even more valuable things, you must show them you are ready to take on the responsibility. Most masters will not take you seriously until you have demonstrated your commitment to the skill and that it means everything to you. Now, let us say your current master is not someone you want to continue taking education from. You have two choices. You can either stay with them and add on 1 or 2 masters to your schedule that will compensate for the areas that your current master is lacking in. On the other hand, you can also leave your current master and find a new one. If you choose to leave your current master, when you find a new one, treat your journey as though you have the same master. You must do the same things I explained earlier about staying with your current master. If you do choose to add on more masters to your schedule, do realize that it will take up a lot of your time, and yes, you will most likely attain mastery of your skill much quicker, but it will require more sacrifice. This is a call you will have to make on your own. Either way, in this stage, you want to make sure you are working with a master that you feel 100% comfortable with. You want this master to be someone you fully trust or someone that cares about your growth. You also want this master to be relatable to you when you talk to him. If you find it difficult to understand every time he tries to explain something to you, it could be that you're after the wrong master and you may be putting an obstacle right in front of you. Remember that your master is like your sidekick. Without the right master, you will not progress as much as you will like, and you will make the journey a lot tougher for yourself. The environment is also more important than you think. You see, if you are surrounded by complacent people who settle and do not really care about doing more and become better, that will adhere to you at some point. You do not want those habits in your life because they will set you back. Another thing to note about the environment is that you want it to align with your strong and personal purpose we have spoken about throughout the book. If the master you are learning from only cares about money and not change, then that may be out of line, so staying with that master may not be the right choice. Lastly, it could be that your master at the time has not been paying you or has been paying you little. This is okay. Remember that mastering your skill is about doing just that, mastering your skill. Do not expect to get paid or be paid a lot. Expect to learn a lot for sure and expect to get better at your skill, but that is it. In the case that you do need money, however, don't ask your master for it. Instead, get out there and look for a job or a second job if you are getting paid to learn from your master. Never complain about your master's decisions. They are the master, not you. They technically do not need you, but you do need them, so keep that in mind. This may seem a bit frustrating and your ego may take a hit for sure, but always remember your why and your purpose for doing this. This is something you will be doing for the rest of your life. Make the best out of it while you can. Stay humble and have an open mind. Yes, it could be that once you start taking more responsibility with your master, your entire schedule will be compromised, but that is okay. You need to let go of doing things you love to do for fun. You need to let go of doing the things you love to do for fun just for a while until you become a true master of your skill. In summary, make that decision. Is your current master worth keeping around or not? Stage number 7, speed. Now that you have committed to a master or several of them, it is time that you focus thoroughly as we are now entering the final stages of mastery. The truth is, it is going to start getting harder from here, so you must be prepared. To begin, the mindset you must have is that of a challenger. You are no longer a beginner who did not know anything. You are now above the average person, and that makes you competent. Previously, you were just trying to get your foot in the door, master the basics, get comfortable with the equipment, and develop habits where needed. We are now going to put ourselves in a place of discomfort purposefully to develop what we call speed. During this time, Varoujan was starting to develop a stronger awareness for the marketplace. This in turn gave him the capability to capitalize on opportunities, especially trends. Not only did he have the experience, but also awareness, which in turn made him smarter. Quickly, he started getting busier and busier with more and more work to attend to. This was certainly a huge step forward for him as he was now making a big name for himself. If you look closely at your master, you may have noticed that the speed at which they do their work is fast and flawless. It may not seem so apparent to the average guy because they have no idea what it takes to get to that level, but I am sure you can notice it. This is what makes a master, a true master. Their ability to not only do what they do, but also their ability to do them at such incredible speeds that make them efficient. This is what we're going to focus on now, speed. You need to be able to do the things that you do at a much faster rate. First thing we are going to work on is your ability to take risks. You see, it is easy to do something when you have a lot of time in your hands. The fact is, when you have time, you have room to fail several times without feeling like you lost time along the way. However, when time is constricted, you do not have the luxury to fail that many times. Part of becoming a master is your ability to focus on your skills so deeply that you can minimize the number of fails and increase the speed at which you do things. This in of itself will take some work that I will show you how to do in just a bit. What it really boils down to is getting to a point where you start doing without thinking. At this point in your journey, you may still be thinking about what are you going to do next and how are you going to do it. We are trying to get past that to the degree that you start performing your skill just like you breathe. You do it every day, yet you do not think about how you're going to do it and when, you just do it. To increase your speed and your performance, you must do something we previously did, which is develop habits. By this time, you should have a basic understanding of what habits are and how they are executed. If you do not remember or chose to skip this stage, the way it worked is that we develop habits from things that we ought to do every day in the beginner stage. Now we are going to focus on developing habits in things that are harder to do. Take for example, becoming a professional photographer. In this case, you know about building a habit around a specific shot setting. In this case, how about building a habit around a specific shot setting? Let us say you are trying to take a shot of a landscape and that landscape requires a set of settings for it to come out sharp. You can build a habit around these settings by repeating and applying these settings on your camera repeatedly until you do not have to think about those settings anymore. They just come to you naturally just by looking at the landscape itself. To make habits effective, you must first eliminate distractions. We spoke about this earlier in the book, but now it matters more than it did before because repeating something that is easy can be done with no effort, but trying to repeat something that is complicated, that might take up more time and the risk is higher for failure. Therefore, I said earlier that you must assimilate this to be the truth and be positive with your journey. Repeating something repeatedly will not be easy and sometimes it will not be fun either. However, this is the master's journey. As a master, you must know how to do everything without thinking. The skill in of itself should become part of you. Do not play it safe either. At first, you may be tempted to just perform a couple times and not fast enough because you want to convince yourself that you are getting faster, but this is not true. Be honest with yourself. If you are not performing fast enough, do it faster. Don't be afraid to lose. Don't be afraid to fall. Part of the journey is losing and not getting it right at the beginning. It is technicality. It is okay if you do not get it right. Remember that the goal is to upgrade your speed, not your technicality. We will work on that in a later stage. For now, you must train every day on your speed and habit building. Another thing to note, be careful with having mental fog. This means that you should watch out for any bad influence that may reside near you. This influence can create confusion in your mind and distract you from that which matters most. Things like TV, video games, friends, family, and so on. If they are not aligned with your purpose and values, you must cut them off your life. Speed requires focus, so if you are unable to focus and really dive into what you are doing and building up on that speed, then you are going to be doing the opposite, which is slowing down. This is not what we want. Look at your diet as well. How is that working out for you? If your diet is not helping you become faster, then you must make some modifications there to ensure that you become faster. Lastly, if you need a sense of competition, of a way to see how you can increase your speed, look at your master. If your master is of quality, then you should see how fast they are performing even the smallest things. Also notice that their multitasking abilities. These happen because while you may see that the person is doing two things at once, they are actually only doing one. The reason is because one action is already a habit, so they do not have to devote mental power to that activity. This allows their mind to utilize their mental power towards something else. Examine your master and see how you can learn by just observing. Feel free to ask some questions on how things can get done. If your master is not available or they're not the right person to look at for increasing your speed, then feel free to go online and find someone that is performing the same thing you do at a faster speed and build this sense of competition with them. Try to beat them or at least match them. At the end of the day, you want to build up your speed so that you become much more efficient when the time comes. Chapter 8. Transcending Apprenticeship. By this point, you have probably spent a lot of time with your master or masters, and you have most likely gained a lot of experience by working side by side with them. Now that you have been through all that, the time has come to say goodbye. Maybe you knew this day would come or not, but the truth is it has. Your master, I am sure, has served you well and has done a lot for you. Your master may have even become your friend during this period, and that is okay. I am not asking you to break off the relationship and never see them or talk to them in any way. All I am asking is that if you feel confident about your skill, you must step away from your master and go on to do what is right for you. It was during these times that Varoujan recognized that the market started to change in ways that were quite unexpected. Because of this, he started to lose clients and money that he had previously made. When this day came, he knew he had to start innovating and start creating something new for the market. He did this by looking at his surroundings and looked for new opportunities left and right. As he did this, he was naturally becoming more and more valuable to the market and his clients. You see, when you started this journey, it was not simply to master a skill. There is a reason inside you as to why you want to master this skill. Maybe it is time to start your own company, or you want to be part of a big company. You could also have hope of being able to participate in a competition where only the elite are able to go. Whatever the case may be, you cannot hold on to your master forever. The time has come for you to follow your path and figure out the rest of the path on your own. Like I said previously, You do not have to end the relationship with your master. All you really need to do is step away from their apprentice and assume the role of the master. You can still be friends with your master or masters and talk to them occasionally. Something to note is that the first step to become a master is to assume the role of it first. It all starts in the mind with your mindset. If you do not believe you are the master, you will never be one even if you have the skills to back it up. From this point on, you must start talking and behaving like a master. Yes, you may not have all the skills yet that make you a master, but at this point, you have to realize that you may be so good at such a degree that you can't tell if you're a master or not. The only way to know for sure that you are a master is by taking on the responsibility of one. In this case, taking on the role of the master can be to open your own business. When you open your own business, you are taking on a huge responsibility because now business incites competition. You see, in business, you will never be the only one with the skill that you have. Sure, everyone's skill level is different, but everyone has a skill. This is the moment when you will be facing now your final test to see if you are up for mastery. The most successful businesses are the ones that have refined and mastered their skill and confidently express their mastery at their skill. Like said previously, you cannot expect people to just assume that you are a master after completing one task or two. Regular people do not respond to your skill mastery unless of course they have been through such journey. Regular people respond to the confidence and assertion of a master. That is what regular people look for. Therefore, so many people get unappreciated. It is not that you are not skilled enough. It is just that you are unable to convey that with your actions and personality. By you starting a business, you are now in a position of service. This gives you the opportunity to not only show people that you are able to deliver the service with skill, but also you are able to show these people your personality and extreme confidence. People care about both. Now, it does not always have to be business and starting your own company. Something else you can do is approach that company you have been wanting to work for years. You see, when you approach them, they may not know the skills you possess just yet, and let's be honest, you may not even get a shot at proving yourself with actions. In this case, all you have is your personality to convey that you are a master and you know what you're doing. You really have nothing else to show the employer that you are worth hiring. However, you are in that same position where you will have to assume your role as a master and show them that you have what it takes to get the job done. Another thing you can do is participate somewhere where you will be able to prove yourself to be a master. This could apply for sports or taking on some sort of activity that is only apt for masters only. In any of these cases, you always want to focus on two things: performing your skill at a mastery level and expressing confidence of a master while doing it. Things to notice while you are in this journey: you must stay focused. You cannot allow yourself to get distracted, especially in these times because you are so close to reaching true mastery. Yes, your master will not be around anymore to hold you accountable and you will not have someone to reach out to that easily. But one thing you do have is yourself. This is the time to start focusing on the small details. There might be a few small things that have gone unnoticed by you, so you must become aware of those. This is the time to become detail oriented. It's not just about getting the job done, but now it is time to make your skill look professional and flawless. There should be zero doubt in a person's mind when they see your work. In these times, things could get hard. This is normal. You are now stepping into territory where only the most elite go to, so you must be ready to face head-on what is coming. This can be the company you started, the company you chose to work, or even decided to participate. All in all, it will be difficult, but do not limit yourself. Part of becoming a master is becoming confident in yourself to take on any problem or situation you may have at hand. Remember everything you have learned with your master. They have trained you. They have prepared you for this moment. Now is the time to live up to your skill and do what you were always meant to do. This is the time to go all in. In the case that you do go into business or decide to work for another company, know that you may have to work alongside with other people. In this case, you do carry a slight advantage as you are trained by a real master while your coworkers or employees may not have gotten that honor. Be humble and help your people whenever possible. Remember that in this stage, it's no longer just about you. It's about making the contribution you want to make, and if there's people willing to work alongside you to make that contribution a reality, you have to help them out. Another thing to note, you may have to deal with competition head on. When this is the case, be respectful but also stay competitive. This is the time to show people and yourself that you are ready to become the master. Stage number 9. Skill is transformable. Now that you have committed to assume your role as a master of your skill by taking on the challenge, following your path, and leaving your master behind, it is time to protect that journey. Something you must understand is that having a skill and being a master of that skill is not enough to excel in life. If you don't keep certain things in mind like the economy, the market, money management, amongst other things, your skill could become irrelevant to such a degree that someone who isn't skilled as you are, but has those things in place, will actually do better than you. Varoujan at this point had become fully detached from the marketplace, which means he no longer had to follow what the other companies in the industry were doing. He could now make whatever he wanted, and people would still come to him because at this point, he was now the master. It was during these times he also went to an event called Burning Man. It was at this event that he opened his mind about the world, and his designing paradigm expanded in ways very few people can imagine. He completely broke away from the market mindset and was now out in an adventure for greatness. You see so many businesses, employees, and superstars who are thriving despite attaining mastery at their skill. This is because they understand what it means to have a healthy balance between skill mastery and an understanding of the world that we live in. So, the first thing we must talk about is the economy. Understanding the economy means that you understand the flow of money around you. While your goal may not be to make money with your skill, you must be honest and accept that without money, you will not go far. You need to make money to keep yourself afloat and still relevant. By understanding the economy, you will learn to have a solid knowing of where you stand in the world and how you can adjust the demonstration of your skill. Sometimes you will have to work and show your skill for free, while in other cases you may have to charge substantial amounts of money. The only way to know this is by studying your economy and looking at how much people are willing to spend. The next thing you are going to want to study is the marketplace. This is like studying the economy, but it is a bit more targeted as the marketplace is only relevant to your industry. Something to keep in mind before I continue, studying the economy and the marketplace applies to you whether you are starting your own company, you are working for one, or you're part of something big. You will be affected regardless if you do not understand them, so make sure you study both. Going back to the marketplace. By studying the marketplace, you will learn about the products and services that are being offered in your industry and at what price point. This is important to look at, especially from companies who are doing well in your space. Never neglect those companies, even if you do not like them. If they are getting results, that means they are doing something right and you must learn from them. Now, when you are studying these companies, you must look at more than just their products and services. You must observe at the value that these companies are offering for their customers. You must also notice the processes they are using and how efficient they are. The marketplace will also give you a guide as to what is relevant today and what is not. You do not want to be charging for value that is being offered for free by someone else or the other way around. Sure, you will have your own methods and your own way of doing things, but for now, study the marketplace and have an open mind about it. The next thing you must learn is how to manage your money. We spoke about this previously about removing people and things from your life that will deplete your resources, one of those being money. You must learn where your money must go and where it should not. You will not get far if you start investing your money in the wrong place, because then you will not have money to invest where you really need to. Let us say you need to buy a video course that teaches you how to market your skill like a pro. If you do not have money, you will not be able to buy that course, and ultimately you will not be able to learn how to market your skill like a pro. If you can't market your skill like a pro, then your skill won't be acknowledged at the time of a customer's purchase, and like I said, if you don't make money, your skill starts to become irrelevant. I don't want this for you, so my job is to guide you in the direction where you invest your money instead of wasting in stuff that won't pay you back and instead set you back from becoming the best among the best. If it does not push you in the direction, do not spend the money on it. Now that you are aware of money investment, let us discuss some of the places where you could potentially invest your money into. First, you should certainly invest your money into educating yourself. There is no way that you will get ahead in your skill and become better than you are if you do not educate yourself in what you do. This education can come in the form of online courses, going to events relevant to your industry, and so on. Keep education at the top of your priority. Another way to invest your money is in machinery and getting extra help. If you do need a certain piece of equipment or you need to hire someone to help you get faster to your goal, do it. You are not alone in this. There's equipment that can help you do your job better and have it look more professional. Back when you were with your master, you may have gotten used to getting the job done with only one piece of equipment. If there is equipment that can get the job done much faster, then you must jump on it and master it. Same goes for employees. If you need a helping hand to help you reach your goals faster, get that extra hand. Stop trying to do everything on your own just because you can. There is no excuse to not hire someone if you can. Those are the few things you must keep in mind when investing your money. Now, the last thing you need to do in this stage is start pursuing a mindset and methodology of growth and expansion. It is one thing to become a master, and it is another to maintain yourself as a master. You need to study the mind and personal growth to stay the course and keep yourself strong and relevant. In the end, the best way to apply this in life is to integrate your skill into your life. Enjoy your skill, live your skill, and allow that skill to fulfill you. That is the only way you will naturally feel entitled to give it all for your skill. Stage number 10. Become the master. This is it. You have made it to the final stage. This is where you finally cement your position as a master indefinitely. In this stage, you are no longer a beginner or an intermediate. You are now advanced. There is no doubt or hesitation that you clearly know what you are doing. However, there is still some work to be done. More than just a master, Varoujan was now becoming a teacher and helping upcoming jewelers learn the craft that he had learned. He was now the master and was looked up to by many in the industry. Varoujan felt as if he was stepping out of his comfort zone to become great and inspire others. He was using everything he knew to explore all the possibilities that were out there. He knew that the learning never stops, as he was still learning a lot by teaching and was also making a big influence on people. His goal was ultimately to help all these people shave years off their journey so that they become masters much faster. He was literally saving these upcoming jewelers lots of time and money. Now that you are an inch away from being a master, there is a couple things you need to ensure you are doing for you not to fall back into becoming average. These are in no order. One of the things you must keep in mind is first, you are not going to get your ultimate grandiose vision by doing everything by yourself. You see, it takes a team to be able to get to the result. To get there, you are going to work with others, whether that is a team or those are associates. Regardless, you will learn how to manage the people you have around you. Leadership will be of the utmost importance because it is what will keep the people that you have in your life active and with the desire to work with you. Involved in this will be a lot of networking. Networking with people may seem a bit intimidating at first if you have never done it, but as with everything, once you get enough practice in, you will be able to do it with ease. The reason you need to learn networking is to be able to attract the people you need working for you or beside you. When you are hiring employees, you want to hire the best ones for your company, not just the ones that are looking to get paid. However, to find those employees, you have to do a little bit of scouting and most likely some persuasion because quality employees are usually employed. To get these employees on your team, you will have to learn how to network and be able to offer value to these employees that will benefit not only you, but them as well. Same goes for associates. When you are looking for people who can work beside you like another company, or maybe you are working in a company, you want an employee from another department to be your associate. Either way, you need to be able to network and present your value to them and at the same time express a welcoming personality. Like I said previously, this won't be easy at first, especially if you aren't good at talking to people in general, but do realize that with time you can improve and become a very effective networker. In the case that you are managing a team, you must be able to determine who is worth keeping around long term and which team member is meant to do what. Realize that not every team member can do everything. Maybe you can, but not the members of your team. You must ask and find out who can do what and have them do that only. The worst thing you can do is assign a difficult and incongruent task to a team member because even though they might get the job done, they will resent you and most likely quit on you in the near future. When you are picking your team members, always pick them with purpose. Know exactly what you expect from them. You must know specifically what position you want them for and know if they are invested into it. You see, while there may be people out there who are capable of getting the job done for a paycheck, the person who you really want is the one who wants to perform the job from the heart regardless of the pay they will be getting. This person may not be as good just yet, but it is worth investing in if that is an option available to you. Normally, you want to hire people with the intention of having them cover your weak points and areas that take up a lot of your time. Here is the thing. You as a master want to be focusing on doing the advanced activities, not the easy and simple ones. Remember, you are the master now. Assume your role as such and start doing the things that represent you as a master. Let your employees do the simple stuff. That way you are still able to push your company or the company you work for. Do keep in mind that this applies if you own a company or you're hiring employees or you're part of a company in which you have been granted authority over having your own team. Lastly, employees must always be kept on check and always keep them growing just like you. If it helps, treat your employees just like your master treated you. But of course, in a tailored way. Every employee has a different personality. Do not treat everyone equally. Treat everyone differently and accordingly based on their work ethic. They are employees after all, so show them that their performance will be rewarded accordingly. Other things to keep in mind are your niche. As a master, you may have realized that you have a specific way of doing things and a specific set of people that will benefit more from your value. You need to put these together and have a proprietary process that allows you to target a specific group who will love your value so much that word of mouth and satisfaction is guaranteed with your customers. As always, you must stay true to yourself because that is what people respond to. Maybe you have still been copying the moves from your master or masters. That must stop. You must learn your own process and your own way of doing things if you want to be treated as a master and not an imitation of another master. Now, like we have said, you can either choose to use your newfound skills to start a company or work for one. In the case that you start your own company, you need to start embracing the life and mindset of an entrepreneur. That life will not be easy as many sacrifices and challenges will arise, but it will be worth it since the rewards will be massive. On the other hand, if you choose to devote your skills to a company, that is also great. In this case, you must adopt the mindset of an entrepreneur. You will have to still perform, but of course, with more room for failure as it is not your company on the line, but rather your position in the company. Regardless, you must consistently work hard, not just one day of the week or two. You must focus on the thinking bigger mindset and always look to deliver the highest amount of value in the marketplace. Do not become average. People despise average even if they are average themselves. Always be available to provide the value and work on yourself to become a better master every single day. Alright. That is stage 10 for you. You have become the master and you have learned what you need to do to keep yourself up there. Now get out there and be the master that you can be and do something big and beautiful with your mastery. Conclusion. Alright, you have made it. I I want to personally thank you for making it till the end of the book. Reading books these days isn't very common, so the fact that you made it through shows me that you're committed and that this journey of mastery means a lot to you. So by definition, I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to make it to mastery. Becoming a master is something special, like said previously. You will be looked up to and you will have the opportunity to inspire others to do the same, just like your master did. The last words I want to leave you with is to live up to your mastery by helping others become just as good as you are. Being a master is a privilege not only for yourself, but for those who are looking to become a master themselves. This is how we continue to craft alive, by teaching others how to do it as well. If we ever stop teaching others, that will take us back a few years, as we will have to figure everything out on our own from scratch. Also, imagine the learning curve you will be cutting from future masters, because they will no longer have to go through the same steps you went through to reach mastery. Future learners will still have to put in the hard work, of course, but they will not be lost and be wasting time on things that have proven not to work. This is the beauty of passing on your master skills to a young and upcoming master. Other than that, it is your time to shine, and it is your time to get out there and show the world that you are a master. Thank you for listening to this audiobook, The 10 Stages to Skill Mastery, narrated by the Almighty Lewis, written by the Almighty Lewis, inspired on the life of Varoujan Khatchikian.